Our next speaker is Paul Harrison from Webomaze. Paul's, come up, mate. As I said, I think earlier, I don't know if you're here, Paul. I know you've been moving house, and I'm sure you're very keen to get a beer.
I'm very keen to get a beer. Let's not beat around.
And Paul might be the last person to leave because he's left his wife unpacking boxes at home.
Very good point.
So Paul's been helping with Dale, been helping with our SEO. We had no SEO and we're all miles behind, but Paul's probably educated us a little bit on it and dragged us through the journey. And as I said, we're doing really well. We're hitting a lot in number one in the key words that we're been after, and we're definitely getting to the front page of Google both here and in the US, which has been great. So I'll hand over to Paul and he can take us through the world of SEO.
Thank you very much, Mostyn, and hi everyone. How are we? Are we ready? Are we still awake?
Yes.
All right. I was sitting here thinking, like, do you guys even want to know about this? Who here is, or who knows what SEO is? Put your hand up if you actually know what it is. Half the room. Put your hand up if you know what, let's say SGE is. Anyone know what SGE is? AEO? GEO? GEO. I'm getting some blanks, which is cool. That's hopefully what I can help you with in this presentation. Look, we are an SEO company, and we also now have evolved to be able to help companies show up in AI search, right? Put simply, who here has used ChatGPT? Okay, we're getting closer, about 90%. Right, so I want you to pull out your phone right now, if you have it, and I want you to go to ChatGPT, if you have it, and I want you to type in who is, and then the name of your company. And I want you to see what comes up. Now, I want you to read the response and tell me whether you think it's correct or not. Or, has it even found your company? Or is it confused? Or is the information wrong? Or is the logo wrong? There are many things that ChatGPT does really well, but quite often, if you haven't structured your own website and the way that you actually present online correctly, you actually have wrong information that's going to show up on ChatGPT. A really good one is if you've actually got an old website. So a lot of people build a website and they go, oh, it's done now. We'll leave it for 10 years. Should be good. We've covered it. Websites are not static. They should be live. They should be always updated, continually, every week, every day. If you're not doing that, chances are ChatGPT and all these other, what they call LLMs, which is platforms that provide answers, are going to have the wrong information for people, your clients, who are searching for you. So it's an important thing to think about. So are you ready? So who here is actually, do you know if your company's doing SEO? Yep, a couple of you. Right. So SEO is search engine optimization, right? And you can see, it's no longer just about ranking. It's also about showing up in these platforms like I've just shown you. So you can see here who are UbiPark, and it gives you a bit of a summary of who they are. We have actually engineered it so it actually says those things. We want that information to be shown. We're very purposeful about what's coming up. It's not just random. And that's a really important thing to understand. Traditionally, SEO has been this, which is the 10 links that come up when you search something. So let's just go to, who is the best parking company in Melbourne, maybe? Or, best early bird parking, Northcote, Melbourne, right? It's actually 10 blue links give you Yelp first, Wilson Parking, Parkhound, Secure Parking, right? So we have traditionally, if you're a client of ours, we've optimized to have you hit first page and then hit the top of first page so that you can actually have anyone who's inquiring, that inquiry come to your website, and it's effectively what we call a lead, right? Or they can transact. So that's what it was, and it still is, because what you're going to hear is a lot of people are saying, oh, well, everyone's searching on AI now. But the reality is most commercial searches are still done this way. If someone wants to buy something, if someone's looking for information where they really are looking for commercial mindset, they usually will still look at this. It's where they're looking for information, where they're exploring and discovering new information, that's where they're going to talk to AI, right? So let's move to the next one. So here's the new search playbook. So this is what SGE is. So SGE is the generative text that comes up in the AI overview that Google's come up with. So it used to just be 10 links. Now you've got Google giving you a summary. And sometimes, depending on your question, different things will come up. Who was the best parking company in Melbourne? There is no single best parking company in Melbourne. The ideal choice depends on your needs. And then it's going to mention park count, right? So it said there's no best choice, but it's mentioned park count first, right? So I don't want to offend anyone, but, you know, then it's second is Wilson Parking, Andrews Airport, Sky Park, right? So very clear that it does make choices. It does present people, businesses first. People said to me, are you worried about you're going to be out of a job with AI? I'm like, no, because guess what? No matter what AI does, someone will always want to be first. Someone will always want to be mentioned. It's a competition. That's what SEO is. That's what getting shown in AI is. It's a competition between like-for-like adversaries who are trying to rank for the same keywords and be shown so that you can actually get those leads, get that traffic to your website. So, acronyms matter. Now we'll just go into the next one. You can see, as I've explained there, SG, you've actually seen it. AEO, you've heard this probably somewhere. By the way, I should just point out that I had AI do this entire presentation for me, right? Now let me tell you, it's really bad. Really bad, right? It crashed about 65 times. It's not where it should be, and it will get there, but it's done a decent job. I wonder if any of you can find little faults in it. One is that it spelled everything in US spelling, but there's plenty of other things in there that I would say, oh yeah, that's probably wrong. But I've decided I'm still going to present this because I think it's interesting. I don't know if anyone else here has done this today, but the entire presentation was done from one prompt. Right. So, AEO, Answer Engine Optimization, is exactly what it's saying, which is it's actually looking to give answers to questions that people would ask. That's what the actual AI is trying to do. So when you optimize for AEO, you're going to optimize your website for questions that people often answer, usually known as FAQs. This has been happening for many years. FAQs appear on most people's websites, but it's making sure that AI can find them. And that's about making sure the code is right. We write code, we make sure that it can be crawled by AI, it can be crawled by Google to find those quick answers to questions. GEO is more about long-term building authority and credibility so that Google and these AI learning platforms actually understand that you're actually a relevant and credible answer. Not just, I started doing AI work yesterday and I started building my website and I expect I'll appear in, I'll just be mentioned by AI. It's not how it works. When it comes to GEO, it's about your authority in the space. It's about your brand. It's about, are you known? So everything comes into play. Did you create a LinkedIn event? Have you done LinkedIn posts? Are you on social media? Have you done any PR? Are you in newspaper articles? Are you in other platforms that are pretty independent? They're not just you on your website, it's biased to you, but are you elsewhere as well? And so that's all part of the work we do when it comes to preparing you for showing up in AI. We've got to build that over time. That's not something that happens overnight. So you can see here, win simple questions with the AEO, we structure your content. So you can see that we structure it, we write the code, and we do it short answers to very common questions. Complex answers come from what we call this EAT, which is EEAT, expertise, authoritativeness, and trust, right? And it's all about having that trust from Google and the AI platforms to show your business as a result. So what's really new? People say to me all the time, Paul, we're doing SEO. Should we be doing AEO? Should we be doing GEO? My answer is this, we're already doing it. What we're doing is we tweak what we're doing, so the work's generally the same. It's just that we actually focus on some different things to actually build it together. Because you actually want both. You want to be showing up in those 10 blue links, but you also want to be showing up in AI, right? You want both. So here we go. So structured data, I've already talked about. This is one of the key things that we do to make sure your content is shown. When they say citations are back, citations are something that were done in SEO around about 10 to 15 years ago that were really important. Then they were not important pretty much at all, and now they're back. And citations mean where you're listed in a relevant directory. So, you would be listed in different parking, traffic, transport directories for your business that make sense, that are relevant, industry relevant. right? Or where it makes sense for you to show up as an answer to a query. So if I'm a restaurant, best restaurants in Melbourne, I want to be in best, all those types of magazines and those types of places where people would look at what we call aggregators, right? Where people will say, these are the top 10 current best restaurants in Melbourne, right? People write articles like that every day. Answering specific questions, which is already spoken about, but basically making sure that I always say this to people, don't be too dense with your content. Be really simple and clear and bullet point. Too many people, they say to me, oh yeah, do you use AI in your business to write content? Oh yeah, we do heaps of blogs. It's like, that's the worst thing you can do. Do not do that. Be very strict and structured about how you actually build your blogs. They are for a purpose, which is to provide information, and they should do it very succinctly. So bullet point, make it really simple. Do not have flowery introductions. I don't want to see, in today's bustling world, in today's dynamic environment, we don't want to see that. That we know it's AI. Clients know it's AI. It needs to come across as human written, even if it's not. You can make prompts that actually mean that it'll come across as human written, but it takes a bit of work. You have to know what you're doing. So it's really important that you actually think about what's going in and you're not just, what they say, throwing it at a wall and hoping it happens, right? It just doesn't work that way. It's got to have a strategy behind it. Hygiene factors. I really see a lot of companies miss this. So, and you think about it, these platforms all want to give the best possible answer to the query. So if your opening and closing hours change and you don't update them, then you are going to pay a penalty. Like if a customer comes to your premises and it says you're open until 6 p.m. and you're actually closed at 5 because everyone had a day and went early, and the customer actually goes to Google and puts an update going, they were closed at 5 p.m. Well, they leave a review that says they close at 5 p.m. You'll pay a penalty. They will absolutely mark you down. So it's really important that things like your opening hours are really accurate at all times, in real time. It's really important that your address information, often businesses change address. Head office addresses change. Different places, they have all different types of locations. These things must be kept up to date. They change phone numbers, they add phone numbers. These must be kept up to date. Emails. So all those things that are on the contact page of your website and also are on the Google business profile, they all must be really consistent. All the same. I say to people, why do you call your business one thing here and over here you've got a "the" at the start of it? It's the same business name everywhere. It has to be the same. These might sound really basic, but I see it so many times across so many businesses. So these are the 2026 ranking factor groups, which have just come out, literally a few days ago. And you can see here, so when you're ranking locally, so if you're a local, you've got a local business that's got a location, to rank locally, this is what you've got to have. You've got to have Google business profile signals, and reviews are over 50% of what makes up your ranking. So if you have a car park in a certain area, and you want to be shown more than another car park across the road, you need reviews. You need good reviews. You actually need GBP signals, which is the Google Business Profile signals. That is people going to your website, going to your Google Business Profile and using it for information. So again, how many businesses do I see with a Google Business Profile? They don't update what's in the you can do posts every week, you can put photos in, you can do lots of different things with your business profile, which is free. And lots of companies don't do it, right? But it's over 50% of the ranking factor of where you show up and if you show up versus your competition. Organic, which is the 10 blue links, which I talked about, you can see on-page signals are most important. Now, on-page signals is people coming to your website and how they can act on your website. So do they come on honestly, it's a pretty rubbish website, the experience is poor, or they've hit a lot of content, it's just bricks and walls of content, and they just leave. That's called a bounce. And if they bounce, if the bounce rate's high, very likely you won't be ranked as high on Google. So your experience on the website is really important, and the signals that Google gets from you being on the website is 33% of your rank. And then there's link signals. Link signals are where you're actually mentioned on other websites. And that's the work that we would normally do as well. So we would actually get you connected to relevant websites and websites that are going to make a difference in your ranking. Next is AI. So AI, you can see, is similar in some parts. They all cover the same things, but in slightly different ways. And what we can see here is on-page signals, which is the website, review signals, which is not website. And by the way, in AI, They look at your Google reviews, but they also look at reviews from everywhere else. So if you happen to have reviews on anything else, Trustpilot, Facebook, Yelp, if you're a tourist, if you're in tourism, any tourist site that leaves reviews, they pull reviews from everywhere and they aggregate them to say who is the best, right? So it's very important that you actually look at reviews across the board, not just Google. And then you can see citation signals. So citation signals is what I spoke about before, which is having you listed in directories across the internet, that are in relevant directories that are going to make a difference where you're found. So it does tell us, and you can see this map, it's going everywhere. That's AI, by the way, that just did this, but you can see that basically they are interlinked. A lot of the SEO work that we do with AI search is very similar work, and so we're able to overlap it with the work that we do. So there is the thing about this that people talk about, which is zero-click. Zero click, so you can see potential click drop from informational queries. So traditional Google SEO, you may see some click drop because people now search a lot of information-wise, they search not commercial, but on something like ChatGPT. I'll give you an example. So if I'm in Bunnings, who's ever got really great customer service in Bunnings? Can you find someone when you need them to help you in an aisle? You've got some great customer service, congratulations. I would love to speak to you because I couldn't get anyone to see me. And I was like standing in front of like 50 different garden hoses. And I was like, well, how do I know what to do here? So I literally just took 5 photos of the aisle, right? And I fed it into ChatGPT and I said, can you please recommend me? I need it for this size yard, da 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 da. And it actually just said, okay, well, this is the pros and cons of each one. And then it gave me recommended. Right, and I went, okay, I'll grab it. So information, didn't need a staff member, probably got better information, to be honest, because as long as the companies who have provided that information online have done a good job at it, most of them are pretty good companies, they should have, it's actually quite useful. So there are contexts where, think about your business, where you want to be that one that's recommended and chosen. And it's about thinking through the strategy of, if someone's looking for me and they're typing in, you've got to put yourself in that shoes of that person who's searching. If they're typing in this in AI, I need to come up, right? That should be the thought, and then how do we do that? So, here are the strategic pillars for 2026. Become an authority, not just a source. Invest in human-led content. So, it doesn't have to be human-led, because people always ask me, is AI content bad? No, it's not bad. You can use AI, no problems at all. In fact, you should. However, you need to proofread it with a human and make sure it appears human. That's more important, right? Build consistency. So make sure that you're building consistency and trust through all of your touch points, and focus on branding. So make sure your brand. So a lot of the time, one thing I haven't mentioned is it's really highly advantageous in search if you have a really strong brand. So if you've invested in that brand in different ways and you've built a brand that people actually recall, if they type in, for example, Monash Health car parking, that's very powerful for Google, because the more searches that gets, it's going to show you in all the other searches because of the brand, right? So the brand is actually quite important in search. So these are things you can do. Join different organisations. Get some PR and news out there. Very important. PR and news, really important because it's seen as independent. So rather than being just on your website, it's actually telling people and giving them ideas about things that are happening in your business that you might think are obvious, but actually to people outside the industry are not obvious at all. So it's a really important part of actually your strategy. So we're already doing this. We do it every day. We're happy to help if anyone needs it. But you can see that it's moving fast. Someone asked me the other day and said, when should I start looking at AI to actually do for search? And I said, about a year ago. Because the reality is it'll never stop evolving. It'll always evolve. But wouldn't you rather have someone on your side who's in it every day and does that than not be in it at all? So that's the question. Success in 2026 won't be measured by your rank, it'll be measured by your presence in AI's answer. There you go. That's it for me.
Any questions for Paul?
Fall asleep?
Here we go. Jack?
I'd like to know when you typed in to do that presentation.
So if you haven't heard of Gemini Canvas, Gemini Canvas, you can go there and look, it's pretty infant. It's like I had to have quite a few goes, and in the end, I wasn't happy with a lot of it was putting out. But we got there in the end, something I could cobble together. It's a fair way off, but it's pretty interesting.
Nice, it's impressive.
Yeah. Nick?
You spoke about reviews.
Yes.
Obviously, a lot of our customers, you talk especially our marketing.
Yep.
Reviews. Like, look at me.
Yep.
I don't like reviews.
Yeah.
But if I get a bad experience,
You'll write a review.
I'm going to write it.
Yeah, that's right. So the reality is that everyone's going to complain when it's bad, right? That's normally how people try to get action, is that they'll leave a bad review or they're just having a bad day or whatever. I always say to businesses, like, you've got to be on the front foot and trying to get reviews from people who actually like you, right? And it can come from I know that every business has probably 99% of clients actually like them. They enjoy the experience, but they never leave a review, right? We never ask them. Ask them.
Have you run a parking company?
Have you got a QR code? Leave us a review anywhere.
Not anyone that's...
Take you straight to the Google business profile. Bang, done. 5-star.
Thanks very much for taking my $50. Yeah.
Yes.
We do.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is, well, there's plenty of systems that can actually work where they actually ask you to leave a review. You can leave anything below 4 stars. It actually asks them to leave feedback. So then they leave feedback and they've got it out of their system. It doesn't become public. And if it's 5 stars, it goes straight onto the public review. There are systems. There are ways to do things. That's why you need to speak to me, see?
Any other questions?
I'll go with it.
Is there an equivalent to Google Trends in the LLM world?
Sorry, say that again.
Is there an equivalent of Google Trends in the LLM world?
Google Trends in the LLM mode.
LLM world. In the AI world, is there a
AI.
way for us to understand the keyword that are being searched?
Well, it's less keywords and it's more
Yeah.
conversational.
And that's what I'm saying, is there an
Yeah.
equivalent?
It's more like, the way that we look at it is that you can't nail every single conversation that's going to happen around a particular topic, right? So the idea would be to build yourself as an authority across a lot of those different aspects. The best way to do it is start really wide and really at the beginner stage. AI loves beginner information. So just assume in your business when you're writing that everyone knows nothing and write for that. Right? And then you can start to build that out over time, get more specific and become more technical and start to really show the niches within your business that you want to talk about. That would be the way to do it. In terms of, basically, yeah, the trends are, but that's how people search now. So when they're looking at it, when they use AI, they're usually starting very wide, right? So they might start with one very wide question and then either the AI is going to give them the wrong answer, where if they've actually misunderstood the intent of the question, they're going to go back and put another question, right? And they're going to, no, I didn't mean that. I mean like this. And then it's going to give, okay, now I understand. So what the AI is trying to do is get the context right. And it doesn't always get it right first time. So when you give it more information, it's going to give you a better answer. So one thing I could say is that voice, which I haven't spoken about, has anyone here used ChatGPT voice? Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can just press it on the ChatGPT on your phone on the app, right? And you can just talk to it. Now, the longer the conversation, the longer the question, the longer the context, the better the app will be. So if you just give it very minimal information, probably going to get you not much. But if you actually give it, actually talk to it, 15 minutes, you can talk to it and tell it, I want you to listen for 15 minutes. I'm going to talk about this problem. This is all the context. I want you to come back to me. I want you to really think deeply and come back to me with a proper strategy that can help me solve this. It will actually do a much better job because it's getting context. So you've got to give it context to actually get that. How do you optimize for that, right? That's the best answer you're going to get. So how you optimize for that is become an authority in that space, which is through your brand, through building PR, all those things I mentioned. You don't have to answer every single question. You just have to be known as the authority to be able to, be mentioned. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool.
Anyone else? It was good to see UbiCollaborate come up about Trump's fame on the ChatGPT that I did. I think Dale was telling me it originally came up with a Parkade logo, so they'll obviously fix that.
Put a logo off our website and thought it was us. Yeah, so it was an interesting conversation to have.
Can't believe we were roped in with Parkade, but
Well, it just shows the work and the coding in behind. Even the logos that you have, who we work with, who are our partners, it needs to be written with code underneath, so that ChatGPT and all it can actually distinguish which is the actual primary logo for this website. So it's yeah, the little things matter.
Thanks, mate.